Hey traders, welcome back. I wanted to talk about one of my pet peeves, one of our pet peeves in our live trading room, and that is when new members or individuals on the internet or on YouTube make a comment about, well, that's all well and good. You guys have great strategies, but what about a black swan? What's going to happen when a black swan comes along? Yeah, let's talk about that. All right, so let's get into this. It really is a pet peeve of mine, and it sort of elicits a lot of snickers and laughs in our trading room when either a new member of our trading room says, "Well, yeah, but what's going to happen to our trades if a black swan happens?" Or a lot of times it's just on the internet or someone on my Twitter feed or the YouTube channel saying, "Well, what's going to happen in a black swan?" And I don't want to say that people that are concerned with or worrying about black swans don't know the history of black swans and they don't understand black swans, but they don't understand black swans and they don't understand the history of black swans, or they wouldn't talk about them. And I think the best example that I can prove to you as to why you should not be worried about a black swan is the top two individuals in the entire world who I think everybody pretty much agrees are the experts on black swans. They say not to worry about them. And if they say not to worry about them, then that's probably the case. So let's talk about why a black swan is not an issue that we need to face as a trader, and probably focusing more on 2 to 3% drawdowns is. Okay, so what is a black swan? What isn't a black swan? Well, the history behind the black swan comes from an interesting story. Since Roman times, all swans were thought to be white. That was a fundamental truth. That was what we believed to be true. Dutch expedition to Australia in 1726 captured a couple of black swans, and it not only proved their existence, but it disproved the theory that all swans were white, right? So a couple of things came out of that. Number one, obviously black swans are rare events and they can have an extreme impact. But the key thing about a black swan is right here. This is the key component of a black swan. Black swans can only be predicted retrospectively. They cannot be predicted prospectively. They cannot be foreseen. They cannot be planned for. You can only realize that a black swan has happened after the fact. Okay, so this is the number one thing right here. If you're trying to plan for a black swan, you will fail 100% of the time because they are not predictable events. People tend to equate the idea of a black swan with a market crash. Black swans and market crashes can come hand in hand, but they are not the same thing. Black swans are just simply rare events that could not be predicted. Okay, 9/11 was a black swan event, but it could be a very, very small move in the marketplace. Black swans are not equated essentially with crashes. They can be, but that's not really what they are. So number one, you can't plan for them. You can only see them taking place retrospectively. But I think more importantly, number two, I said they're not anything that we need to worry about. And this is probably the best proof that I can give you. This is what the experts say. So Mark Spetzengal and Nassim Taleb, they are considered the two experts. They have literally written the book on black swan investing. The two of these individuals themselves actually built a hedge fund with the sole purpose of hedging away that left tail risk of a potential black swan. Well, after many years of trying to do that unsuccessfully, I might add, this is the quote that they are now sticking to. They said, "The cure is often worse than the disease." In other words, it is way more expensive. It is a fruitless endeavor, if you will, to try to hedge away unquantifiable risk. You can do it, but you'll never, ever make any progress in the market, okay? So black swans are not an issue for us. We don't care about them. We're not interested in hedging against them. Again, one of the most current black swan examples that we've ever had was 9/11. Obviously, that was an unplanned event. The market took a tank, and literally 2 months later, we were higher than we were before. And you know what? The market has recovered to a higher high based on every single solitary black swan that we've ever had in the history of the stock market. So market corrections based on black swans are not really an issue. But the reason why we are so frustrated in our trading room when somebody comes up with the phrase black swan, number one, obviously, it is just pretty apparent that they don't understand what a black swan even is. They don't understand the history of a black swan, and they don't understand that it is not directly correlated with a market crash. It could just be a simple 1 or 2 month dip like we had on 9/11. But the reason that it's probably more offensive to us than anything else is that by saying, well, you guys have great strategies, but you know, what's going to happen in a black swan, or more appropriately put, what's going to happen if the market goes down? Well, that's offensive to us because that implies that all we have done in our model portfolio is gone out and purchased stuff. All we have done is go long underlines, and we're sitting around waiting for them to go up. And if they go up, we make money. If they go down, we lose money. And that could not be further from the truth with how we trade. There are some very specific things that we do in our live trading room to where we don't fear a downturn in the marketplace. In fact, usually we benefit from those, okay? So the first thing that you will find that we do in our live trading room is we trade non-equity correlated underlines. We like to trade things that, as we say, are in the market, but not of the market. They're traded on the U.S. stock exchanges, but they don't go up and down with the S&P. They don't go up and down with the NASDAQ or the Dow. They move independently of those. Now, we trade a ton of them. I'm not going to go through an entire list for you here today, but we trade bonds, we trade corn, we trade wheat, we trade soybeans, we trade lean hogs, we trade nat gas. We trade all kinds of different underlines that are in the market, but not of the market. In fact, in many cases, a lot of these underlines, we trade oil. A lot of these underlines will go up when the markets go down. So the fact that the Dow Jones Industrial Average crashed 1,000 points today doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing for us in our model portfolio, because we're using non-equity correlated underlines. Usually 30+% of what we trade is in the market, but not of the market. The market's going up and down. It's not affecting our trades. One of our strongest trades that we trade is a pairs trade, where we are shorting one underline and buying another comparable underline. And that trade is solely an arbitrage trade. It doesn't matter if the Dow shoots up by 2,000 points or crashes by 2,000 points. That does not affect the outcome of those trades. Let me say that again. We have trades in our model portfolio that do not alter the P&L based on what the stock market does. If the market crashes tomorrow, it has zero effect on those trades, okay? So we use non-equity correlated underlines. Number two is we carry short positions. We trade very much like a hedge fund, and we continually have short positions offsetting our long positions in our account. Generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, our overall portfolio is going to have a negative delta, carrying the overall portfolio. Now that varies, that ebbs and flows, and sometimes as market movements are exacerbated and are great, it will move our negative delta to a positive delta. But we generally set up our model portfolio with a negative delta, meaning we benefit, we profit when the markets go down. So again, it's short-sighted and it's uninformed to say, well, what would happen with your trades if the market went down? in a lot of cases, that's what we're praying for, is that the markets go down, okay? Because of our short positions. Again, we do have a negative overall portfolio delta. That does vary from time to time, but all three of these things combined together give us a pretty good diversified mix. And so again, it's not really about black swans. Nobody cares about a black swan. There is no black swan in the history of the stock market that we haven't gotten to a higher level after that event has taken place. They're not predictable events anyway. What is predictable is the fact that we could have a 3 to 5% drawdown, a 3 to 5% loss in the indices at any given time. And that's what we work towards protecting against and benefiting from through short positions, through negative overall portfolio deltas, through having non-equity correlated items, okay? We also have in-the-money cover trades. If you're looking at a trade and you ever wonder, you know, how do you make an apples to apples comparison, one trade to another? Maybe this trade can make me 10%, maybe this one can make me 5%, but the 5% trade seems a lot safer than the 10% trade. How do you make an apples to apples comparison? Well, the Sharpe ratio. The Sharpe ratio is a really good way to look at a couple of trades and be able to compare them side by side, because every trade is going to have a different profit potential. Every trade is going to have a different risk potential. And it is the Sharpe ratio that can throw those all into a bucket and spit out some numbers that tell you, okay, overall speaking, this trade is the better trade. Well, our in-the-money trades, these are fantastic because they make money all through three ways that the market can move. Markets can go up, markets can stay the same, markets can go down. We make money all three directions in our in-the-money trades. I think that's all the market can do is go up, down, or stay the same. So our in-the-money trades have been absolute solid winners. We're banking anywhere from 55% annualized returns to 145% annualized returns on our in-the-money trades this year so far. They've been really, really solid setups. So again, it's not really about black swans. It's about protecting yourself for a downside move of 3 to 5%, which while we could care less about a black swan, we care greatly about this because this is a very, very real reality. And it can and does happen all the time. So we prepare for that. So just wanted to share that with you guys. If you're interested in seeing how we hedge against market risks, you can come join us. You can go to tradelivewithus.com and jump on board with us. We would love to have you as part of our trading group. If you want to be a part of our passive investment program, which has just absolutely been killing it this year, we're on track, I believe, for close to a 30% annualized rate of return in that program this year. You can go to tryatmforfree.com. And if you want to connect with me as well, you can go to scottstewartcontacts.com. All of my contact information is in there. Love to hear from you guys. Hope you're having a good trading week. We'll talk to you soon.